Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fight fans all over the world. My name is Robert Huddleston, and today we are going to answer the age old question: was Jake Paul's knockout of Nate Robinson racist? If you're not familiar, YouTube sensation and pro boxer Jake Paul, the younger of the Paul brothers, had a boxing match with Nate Robinson, who is a retired NBA player and a three-time dunk champion, slam champion, um, at 5'8" and like 180 or 90 pounds. So jack dude, super built, um, gifted athlete, like the ability to explode, to accelerate, to control. Jake Paul was a little bit bigger guy and has been training boxing a lot more and starched him dead. Jake is a 6'2" blonde, uh, white kid, obviously of like Scandinavian descent, 189 pounds. Also a very good athlete. He goes on Jamel Hill with another black lady on Vice. Vice, which was started by one of the members of the Proud Boys. Vice was founded by the guy who later went on to found the Proud Boys. Jamel Hill and another black lady are on that that channel's show. I don't know the name. And they asked Jake if what he did to Nate Robinson in the boxing match was racist. He's like, no, he kind of laughed at it at first. And then the other girl, who I don't know, she doubled down. She's like, no, really, was it racist? She's like, stop asking me this shit. That's stupid. I'm going to answer the question: was Jake Paul's knockout of Nate Robinson racist? Yes, it was. Why? What sense does that make? Well, you have to take into context the history of boxing and how racist it's been. I'd like you to think back when you saw the last white champion that wasn't from Europe or Russia. The last white American champion. Without looking it up, Tommy Gunn, like Tommy Morrison, like Rocky Five, Tommy Morrison, like early '90s. This guy died of AIDS not that long ago. I can't name another. All over Europe, they have white champions: Russia, Britain, a couple from Africa. No white dudes box here in America. A couple generations now, like 40 years. Can't think of I mean, Curry, Wepner, Kelly Pavlik. He's foreign. I can't think of an American boxing contender or champion that counted in my life. Now, is that just because white American dudes can't fight? We're not good athletes? Uh, the whole time we've been excluded from boxing, we did really well in amateur wrestling, freestyle, folk style, Greco-Roman wrestling. Soon as jiu-jitsu was made available to the masses, within a black belt generation, you had white middle American world champions at Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Always done very well at kickboxing, and there's an equal amount of white American champions than there are anybody else in the various mixed martial arts. And certainly when you look at contenders, there's plenty of white dudes with hands. But not in boxing, and not for my whole life. I think boxing, so to answer the question, yes, it's very racist that two white males, two blonde white males, had to become independent millionaires to buy their way into the secret Freemason like guild that is boxing. Boxing was kept from middle American white people. We were given Taekwondo. We were given folk-style wrestling. We were given jiu-jitsu. No boxing gyms. I don't know anybody who even knows where a boxing gym is. Seriously. I don't know anybody who knows a boxer. The only local boxing personalities I know are black dudes from cities. I don't know a white guy who was ever taught proper boxing. My great uncle in the war, the big one, right? Every other fighting style given access to us, and we do just fine at all of those. It's not that white guys are the inferior athletes. Black guys tend to, across the globe, across the plane, black guys tend to be faster on their feet. Black guys tend to be stronger, or white guys tend to be stronger. Look at the positions where running is involved, black guys excel. Look at the positions where throwing and lifting are required, white guys excel. And in specific sports, the fastest guys in the world are black, the strongest guys in the world are white. So there's equal athletic and everything in between. There's equal smatterings of that all over the place. So it can't be that white guys don't fight or aren't athletic, but they're excluded from boxing. It's black guys and Latin guys. Various Latins. I can't just say Mexican or Puerto Rican or Dominican. It's truly pan-Latin. And I'm not blaming black guys and Latin guys. Boxing is ran by white dudes. Italians and Jews, I believe. But, on the application, they would check white non-Hispanic. So for some reason, several generations ago, boxing as a entry-level operation was just taken away from white people. Just didn't have a boxing gym to go to. Floyd Mayweather's dad was a boxer. His uncles were boxers. His granddad was a boxer. He should be good at boxing. It wasn't something he went and chose due to the hard work and the stuff. No, he was born a boxer. My dad's a carpenter. I have two brothers who are carpenters. They're really good at it. They should be, right? That's a trade passed down from father to son. Somewhere it was gilded like that, where white guys were not taught boxing. And I'm not sure what the reason. I'm not sure when when Order 66 was given to take the whites out of pugilism. And like I say, as soon as broader martial arts opened back up, I think you saw that was all nonsense. Suddenly white dudes got hands and feet and they can wrestle, but they don't exist in American boxing. And they haven't for generations. It took the Paul brothers being independently wealthy, and then the guild that is boxing to be economically struggling for them to even be allowed to buy their way back in. And Mike Tyson said this card didn't happen without Jake Paul. So there's Mike, and this is how fucked up boxing is today. Most people that I talk to, adults, when they think of boxing, they still think of Mike Tyson. And honestly, Mike Tyson he might be fighter of the year. Hilariously, Mike Tyson might be fighter of the year in 2020. People still think of Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. Well, those guys haven't been boxing for generations. And nobody's watched boxing, not in the ways we think, right? Certainly the numbers have not been what steadily, say, the UFC has been. So boxing as an entity, as a business, as an enterprise, as a house of cards was really, really hurting. That's the only reason the Paul brothers were allowed to buy their way in. They still had to buy their way in. They private training camps, hiring their own boxing coaches, probably putting a lot of the money, certainly bringing the eyes to the card, because you can go get a loan when you say, oh, we have one of the Paul brothers fighting undercard. Billy Joe Saunders, a white boxer from England. He was allowed to box, and he's one of the best. I think he's a lot better than Floyd Mayweather. Gets no publicity. A little bit overseas, none here. Says he couldn't have been happier to fight undercard for Logan Paul KSI 2 because a ton of people will see it. That's sitting world champion on the pound for pound list. Very happy to be fighting under Logan Paul and KSI last summer. Fast forward to here a few weeks ago. There's Mike Tyson, greatest boxer of his generation, some think the greatest of all time. Roy Jones Jr., one of the greatest of all time. Certainly the greatest in his weight classes in his generation for 10 years. And then Nate Robinson, a former professional retired from the National Basketball Association and a 3-time dunk champion. They all got paid because of an amateur YouTuber. 3 grown men, world famous, world champion, world class athletes, black dudes, in the star money making mechanism of boxing today, had to lean on a 23-year-old white kid to get paid. Because boxing is a racist, Freemason-like guild, reverse ran by old white dudes, Jews and Italians, that has excluded white guys from being able to compete stateside for a couple generations. And yeah, Nate Robinson getting knocked spark out by a amateur who had to buy his way in is the most ridiculously corrupt racist thing I think I've ever heard. And it should make us all, and I love boxing, it should make us all take a real look at who's behind boxing and who is allowed entry level into boxing. Not whether you can box or not. Are you even allowed to show up and ply your attempt? Tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. God bless you.